Hey folks, welcome out to the backyard today. Today we're not going to do a cooking video for you. We're going to talk a little bit about the smoker. And I've had a few people ask me about the kind of smoker I have. And I refer to it as being an old-timey smoker or an old-fashioned style smoker or whatever the word you want to use there. But a few people have asked me about it, so I thought I'd go over it with you a little bit. So the camera's going to move around a little bit as best it can to keep up with my conversations. But the smoker we have is what I call a vertical smoker or an old-fashioned smoker. We have the firebox that's over here. We have this middle area, and then we have the vertical part, which is technically the smoker. All right, so let's start on the firebox side first. And we've got a door on this side. And this door has the adjustable vent in here for controlling airflow within the smoker. It doesn't have a grate to build a fire on. A lot of people prefer to have a grate, and you can. I'm used to building a fire on the ground or in my stove Sarah, so I'm used to a fire being directly on the ground. So the fire's in here. There's no damper, and you can look around this way right here. There's no damper between here and this part. So all the heat's going to go straight in there. So it's very important to regulate the fire, and I'll come back and we'll talk about that. This part of the smoker will get easily 350 to 400 degrees. Easy. In here, the vertical part of the smoker, you can get to 200 to 250 depending on how it needs to be. Okay? You have your air vent up top. Now, let's back up a little bit and let's talk. You hear people, when they talk about smoking, talk about dirty smoke and clean smoke. Dirty smoke, to me, is heavy smoke, excessive smoke. Okay? When you smoke, you want a little bit of blueness to the discharge. You don't want a heavy bunch of gray smoke. That comes from many different ways. Okay, one is airflow. That is the particular thing that will cause you to have issues with your fire. The heat and the smoke are going to be connected. And without proper airflow, you're going to get excessive smoke or not enough heat. Okay? So when you build your fire, you'll build your fire inside the firebox. And what I do initially is put a big pile of wood in here, and I build a really big fire. And I leave it fairly open. I let the fire get going, and I let it get probably 80% down to a coal. And then I close everything up except for I leave my air vent in all the way open and my air vent out all the way open. What that does naturally, it lets the heat balance out within the smoker. All right. Then I add a piece of wood. Some people talk about preheating the wood. Okay. I don't do that. I will lay a piece of wood up here if it's wet, get some of the moisture off of it, but I don't typically preheat the wood. When they refer to that, whenever something starts to burn, you get a lot of smoke before it burns. I think you all know that with lighting a fireplace or doing something similar to that, you're going to get a lot of smoke until there's a lot of flames going. Okay? So whenever I put a piece of wood in here, I know that I'm going to get a little purge of smoke through my smoker. Okay? But typically, once I get that set up, I'll close everything up. I'll adjust my airflow to about a quarter over here. And then this will get to about 350 in my experience using this smoker. And this will get to about 220. You want your, and again, these are just ways, not necessarily a right or wrong. I don't know that anybody writes a rule book for these. But you want to have your discharge vent equal to your inlet or greater. Okay? So if you pinch this off more than you're allowing air to come in, you're going to hold heat and you're going to hold smoke within your smoker. Okay, so this needs to be at least equal to, I usually put it twice. Whatever that is over there, I usually have this 2 times that amount. So if that's a quarter of a turn, this is going to be halfway. That's going to allow my fire to come on through there. If I get too hot, I don't do anything with this. I cut back my intake air. When I cut back my intake air, yes, it's going to create smoke. Okay, but you just have to learn how to balance that in the easiest way, just like when I've told y'all with Dutch oven cooking. You just have to get out here and practice. All right, but a few things that I'm going to tell you are different about this smoker. Smokers, modern smokers, fancy smokers, all different kinds of grill, they have a gasket. It's either on the door or it's here. That seals it up. And they have that at every opening, they have a good seal because they want 100% of the airflow to be in the inlet and the exit. Well, if you have a gap here, and you can obviously see that I do, and I get smoke out, I just compensate for how this needs to be. So if I'm naturally drawing air because I have leaks within my smoker, then I accommodate, I adjust this up here. The other thing that's a trick, say we're going to be doing on this smoker 2 really big briskets and a chicken. All right, if you put a really big brisket on here, no matter what level you put it on, you restrict the amount of heat to come up. Okay, so you'll want to put your briskets up top and your chicken down below so that the heat can pass that chicken and you don't blind this area off. Because when you blind this off, you choke down your airflow as well as you retain your heat back in this part of your smoker. Every time you open a door, whether it's this door, that door, or the Firebox door, you change your airflow, you change your heat, and you change your smoke. So that's quick, simple, kind of 101 about my smoker. This smoker is 20 something years old, and I've cooked on this smoker a lot. And I've learned this smoker, I can set it and I can walk away. Learn little tricks and remember them. This rod, which is 3/8 to a 1/2 inch in diameter, when I stick this rod in my air inlet and I let this come down, I know that if I half gate that with this in here right there, I'll stay 220 with a bunch of meat in there. I'll stay 220 on that side for at least 2 hours. And I add wood regularly. Every time a stick gets ready to get to coals, I add another one. And I just keep doing it that way. If you add a ton of wood at one time, you're going to get an excessive amount of smoke. Heat's going to die down, and then you're going to get a blast of heat when all that lights back up. So that's really quick, simple about the smoker. So folks, hope that helps somebody. If not, ask me more questions. I'll be glad to share what I know about things that are old. So folks, enjoy your day. And like we always say, enjoy your food.